As of Wednesday, the House and Senate passed a bill. Let's talk about that.
Sure.
What's going on with this?
This is Las Vegas Real Estate Now with local real estate expert Harvey Blankfeld.
Yeah, the Congress got together in a really large bipartisan way, and they passed the first major piece of housing legislation that we've seen in over 50 years.
Yeah.
And so they've passed the 21st Century Road to Housing Act.
Great.
It's out to the president for signature, and if we set aside the politics of it, it's got support on both sides. It should make it through at some point, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And it's interesting to say, like, the headline from this is they're trying to fix the sort of housing affordability problem. And they're pushing on as a solution, they're pushing on the side of we can address the supply of housing. We can't necessarily make it cheaper by subsidizing people's interest rates, subsidizing their housing prices, making house prices go down.
Right.
We're not going to mess with that. We're going to raise the supply, and that will bring down costs for consumers.
Indeed. Yeah.
That's the goal here, right?
We talk about it all the time. The issue is always supply versus demand. So if you increase the supply, you should soften prices a little bit, and then it may increase demand too.
Agreed. And the idea of just getting people more options, it'd be wonderful. Hey, there's now inventory available for, and I'm making up numbers here, but $100,000 for you to buy. That helps people.
Yeah, right? Absolutely.
And so it's really good. We did get sort of the headlines of the various areas that I thought would be worth mentioning to our listeners and that sort of thing, to talk about how are they really doing this? What's the reality here? And so we've got kind of the summary that I want to share out and maybe discuss with you guys.
Great.
Number one is they want to speed up the ability of the construction of houses. We want to make it easier and faster for a house to be built. So add inventory, right? And so they're trying to reduce the amount of bureaucracy and permits and things that have built up over time on our housing industry, such as, it takes you 9 months and $300,000 to prove out that this parcel can be developed, that there's not the special horned tortoise of
environmental impact,
that kind of stuff, and all the various regulations are using the right amount of water, this sort of thing. Try to streamline that.
But the federal government only has so much control over that because they're limited to the to environmental impact.
Agreed.
Beyond that, it's really down to the local governments.
That's exactly right. And so inside of this, one of the things they did is said, HUD, our Department of Housing and Urban Development, we want you to tell the states what they can do to streamline and give them an idea of what they can do to be better at this. So you are now directly instructed to provide that information back to the states. Positive.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
They've added call it incentives, basically saying that if your state lets people through the process or gets people through the process faster, then you have the ability to touch more money from the federal government. You get to access more dollars that let you build more housing if you can get them through this process faster.
Yep.
So that makes sense to me. Now, you and I both want every home to be safe. We want it to not ruin the environment. All those things we want to still be true, right? We still care about that. But I think we could all say that likely there's a bunch of bureaucracy out there that we could advocate our way through, right?
Yep.
And so that makes total sense. So effectively, they've put federal dollars behind it to saying, if you go faster, if you approve more, you can touch more dollars. And here's the idea is they're trying to solve a problem with the industry to where that they can make it cheaper, faster, easier for you to access the dollars to make major developments, right? That helps us.
And they're going to give if communities and local governments that provide a slipperier slope, I'll say, an easier guide track to housing, they're going to give them a larger portion of federal funds too. They're going to increase their dollar amounts. So that's huge. I think that's great.
I think it's really, really powerful. The one that's interesting hiding inside here is this whole topic of, and this became a sort of a political agenda thing, but they're going to put caps on large institutional investors buying real estate throughout the country.
Yeah,
I think we talked about that.
I mean, as a headline,
That's the big one everyone's talking about.
Yeah, because it is this football, and honestly, my opinion is it's going to come down to how they execute.
Yeah, I don't know how you're. It says the summation number. It says limits the ability of large institutional large investors and private equity firms to acquire single-family homes. How do you do that?
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that. I mean,
I think we can get this really messed up and wrong, or we can be smart about it. Like the headline is, a large institutional investor is defined as a entity that owns 350 houses or more.
Okay.
If you go over that, now the rule says you're not allowed to buy any more real estate.
Okay.
But what if I just add a new company and call it House Buyer Number 2? Is that a new entity? Now I can buy 350 homes again?
Right.
We want to obviously protect against that.
Yeah. And look, we've talked about this before. I mean, look, Wall Street and large institutional investors saved us out of the crisis. Now, maybe they caused the crisis in the first place, but they saved us. They pulled us out of it. It was so important to us in buying up all that stock and getting back on the market, leasing it out or flipping it or whatever. And they kind of got, and my feeling is they got a taste for it. Then ooh, this is actually very profitable. This is something we can do, make a lot of money at. So they didn't want to give it up.
Yeah.
So now they've even expanded on that, and that has driven up the cost of housing overall, because now you have another player in the game who's a big player, eating up a lot of inventory and turning a profit by doing so.
Yes.
But we can't extract them entirely. We can't say, okay, no more. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
because if you did
that's not really American for us to say you're not allowed to own real estate.
No, it would hurt the housing market to pull them out entirely.
Jeopardize, though, the locals being able to buy.
Well, that's the other side.
Now we're trying to get back to that.
If we go back to yesterday, Wall Street effectively, in my mind, has unlimited amounts of money, and there's no cap on how much they can buy.
Yeah.
So they could buy every house if they conceivably wanted to, right?
Yeah.
And here's the problem hiding beneath the surface in my mind is they don't those houses, when they buy them, are sort of effectively permanently removed from the housing stock.
Yep.
They're not in the business of reselling them to future buyers. They now want to keep them as permanent rentals in their portfolio.
Yep.
So you can never buy that house again as the concept, right?
Indeed.
And it's interesting. This legislation, at one point, they were playing with the idea of, all right, you can buy it, but you must sell it back to the market within 7 years.
Oh.
So it's got to come back to the real estate market for people to buy and this sort of thing. That's gone away in the current legislation.
Yeah.
So how they implement, how these rules are going to come in is going to be everything, effectively.
It'll be interesting.
But the concept is true that it seems like we need some amount of headwind, whether it be extra taxes or just
that's what I think. That's where I think they got to go. Once a company goes above, I would make a number fairly small. I would say once a company goes above 25 homes, there should be additional tax, federal tax on all their income, and that would because no big company is going to want to set companies for 25 homes. They're not going to. That's a waste of time.
But I also don't want to disincentivize Joe and Sally Smith from being able to own 30 homes if they want to.
Yeah, I think Joe and Sally can live with 25.
Yeah.
I mean, in my head.
You just arbitrarily decided that, and I would advocate that they get to make that choice for
I think
themselves.
we should name it. It's the Blankfeld legislation, and we should put it in place. And let's just listen to that.
All right.
It's the Blankfeld. There's a few more points I want to make sure we get through to our listeners. One is that they're increasing the ability or making it easier for manufactured housing, too.
This is big.
Yeah.
I mean, if we think about, in my world, the rules for being able to finance a manufactured home, that's a whole special niche.
Yeah.
And they're really, in my world, there are two segments it goes down to. One is there's a specialty lane for manufactured homes where the land and the building are two separate things.
Right.
That's one thing that exists in our world. The traditional mortgage rules will only let you do it if the land and the building are one thing.
Right.
They're together as real property.
Correct.
Now you have some options there. But honestly, these are really old-fashioned rules. They have certain requirements that make it difficult for us to do it. And I heard some numbers on this. One of the rules basically is manufactured homes have to be on a permanent chassis.
Right.
So they got to have this permanent foundation that gets mounted to the ground, this sort of thing.
Yep.
They're taking that out of the rule, and that drops the price of manufactured housing by about 30%.
Yeah. Huge.
So now we're making manufactured housing significantly cheaper. Now, and I'd give you one layer to this, which is when these rules are written, maybe it's the 1960s. Do you think the manufactured houses from the 60s are way different than now?
Oh,
I would
100%.
say yes.
Oh, yeah. They all went up in the wind.
Hey,
Anytime it was a rainstorm, boom, everybody got wiped out.
Right. They blow away. That's real. We have to ask, like government loans, like FHA, they want seismic straps or wind straps on the property and things.
Right.
So anyways, they're modernizing those rules to make it easier for people to purchase manufactured homes and get lower cost, easier financing in the normal world, which I think is really big.
You know what would be interesting about that is how that relates to us as realtors and real estate agents, because right now I can't even deal in a manufactured home unless there's real property involved.
Yes.
And so are they going to change the rules to say, okay, we're going to let realtors handle manufactured housing too? I don't know if that's going to change or not. That could be interesting, because if you don't, the one good thing, I mean, I know a lot of people don't like realtors, and I understand that, and there's good and bad and everything. But the thing that realtors have is we have a code of ethics, and that code of ethics guides us. And if people are selling these homes and they don't have that, there's going to be a much higher incidence of abuse. There's going to be a lot of problems with that. So that's just, again, I don't want to go off on a whole tangent on that.
My sense of that is that's not what's going to be where their focus is.
Yeah.
And the idea here is they consider the building personal property.
Yep.
Like, hey, I've got a car in my front yard.
Yep.
That's personal property.
Yep.
They don't want mortgages financing personal property. They want it to be physically long-term attached to the land and as one thing. And by the way, you can't move it somewhere else when you're done here.
Right.
All this kind of stuff.
Right.
We need that loan to be protected by all the asset involved, right? So
I like the idea behind this, because I've always said we just need to increase the supply to ease the crisis. Get us more homes. Things are going to prices will soften a little bit. More people have the opportunity to buy. That's what we really want. I like that. But what's this mean specifically for us here in Southern Nevada or Las Vegas? What does it mean for us?
Yeah, what we're translating for the headlines for the state of Nevada would come down to a couple things. One, more new home construction. If I can make it easier and faster and cheaper for you to build new construction, I can get you more of it for your marketplace, right? More housing stock can potentially make it easier for you to buy, less likely for you to compete, less likely for you to have to pay the absolute top dollar because I can build it more affordably, all this kind of stuff. Yep. Number two, I can give you faster development approvals. If the developer can go from, raw land to start building something in 3 months, that's way cheaper for them than if it takes them 2 years.
Yep.
Got it.
Great.
Okay. Increase manufactured home opportunities.